it's a real honor, one, to be at GS Lab. And a month ago, when I got to hear from Kshitij about the book that both of you have written, I thought it warranted that we talk about it and promote it. One, because very often in India, when we are working, we tend to become too blasé about just working. And the fact that there's an intellectual element to work and everything that you're doing is extremely important. And the fact that you took the time to understand that there could be a need based on what you have been doing, and to be able to document it and think about some of the key areas that are required in the most discussed technology, be it AI or data sciences. And the fact that you wrote this book, Building an Effective Data Science Practice, wanted to congratulate both of you. And what I wanted to do was, one, humanize it a little, would love to know a little more about both of you, and subsequently understand the logic behind you writing the book, what drove you, and what is it that you're trying to convey through the book. So would love for you to start, Vineet and Srinath.
Yeah, hi Sumit. Thanks for inviting us to this discussion. I am Vineet Raina. I have helped Srinath to set up a data science group here at GS Lab. And before joining GS Lab, I was working at SAS for 7 years in mainly data visualization, writing algorithms, and which involved a lot of research work, filing patents and all. That experience there kind of helped me understand data science to a large extent. And when I came here, started working with Srinath to set up a data science group here. There were many challenges we were facing. So we realized there were many technical books available that talked about techniques. Some books talked about some other aspects, but we didn't find a single book that covers all of these aspects, the technical, the business aspects. So when we were learning it, we learned it the hard way ourselves. And in the process of doing so, we created notes and presentations. And finally, when we did many customer projects, we felt that all that we had learned probably could go into a book, which will be useful for people like us who want to set up a data science practice in their companies. So the notes and presentations we had created, they became the skeleton of our book, and we then added content to it and approached publishers, and then thankfully publishers showed interest, and that's how the book was born. So
Srinath?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Srinath. I'm a principal architect here at GS Lab, been with GS Lab for just over 10 years now. Before that, I was at Persistent. And generally throughout all these years at Persistent and GS Lab, my work has been more on the data mining and data warehouses space. And it's been in various domains from bioinformatics to life sciences and healthcare and communication and many areas, and even industrial IoT and related areas. And I think a few years ago, when we wanted to start a data science team here at GS Lab, I was given an opportunity to build the team. And while we had a few data scientists in my team, I needed a strong person to play the chief data scientist role, so someone strong in maths and programming. And I think Vineet and I knew each other from a few years ago, so he agreed to join us, and we built the team from there. I think the challenges we faced, some of which Vineet has alluded to, we also saw similar challenges in our discussions with technology leaders on our client side. When they want to start data science, they would have similar doubts, like where to start, what the whole journey would look like, and all those kinds of aspects. So that's what motivated us to write the book. And and share with data science community and people who are looking to adopt data science in their organizations.
For the layperson, how do you differentiate the much used word of AI and ML and NLP and data science? Vineet?
Interestingly, Sumit, we have covered this because there is a lot of jargon around these things. These terms get thrown around. In fact, kind of our book begins with this discussion: what is AI and what is data science? So, AI, as we have described in the book, is the broader area that tries to make machines intelligent so that they can do what humans do. So it's a very broad area, and broadly there are two kind of approaches to it. One is rule-based approach. For example, if you're building a chess engine, so you could build rules about certain moves, that if this is these are the various positions of the different pieces, which move makes sense, which is a good move. You could build those rules. Or the other approach is the data science approach, which actually uses the data of past games, and based on that it knows which moves led to victory in last many games, so tries to play that move. So I said it in a very crude way, of course, but that we can say at a high level is the data science approach. It uses the data. So it is the data based approach to AI. And within data science, there are many steps. You need to gather the data, prepare it in various ways. Then comes the machine learning, which actually tries to understand this data and build simplified representations called models. And then those models are what do the magic. They'll do all the predictions because they have captured the relationships in data in the form of models, which could be equations or trees. And so machine learning is at the heart. It's the core step of the data science, entire data science pipeline. And then within machine learning, if your machine learning techniques use neural networks, so that becomes, that's the subset called deep learning. And NLP is a branch of AI, just like we said that when machines become intelligent, we call it AI. Now, with respect to languages, if we teach machines to generate and understand language, so that is natural language processing, the field of NLP. So it involves, like I said, natural language generation and natural language understanding. And again, NLP can do different things like language translation, understanding the intent in what has been said, and all those things. And again, there's a data science-based approach to it, which makes use of data that has been collected, textual data, and models are built out of it using machine learning. So the entire data science pipeline runs to build models, which can then do, you can use for like classifying the intent, classifying the documents into appropriate categories, or language translation, and all those things. So
no, this has been most helpful, most helpful. And again, I think you could extend that the neural is largely trying to replicate how the brain works. And that's really how you're taking it forward. So a point for you, Srinath, is the book. Would you like to talk about building an effective data science practice? What is the key takeaway from this book, please?
Yeah, so I think the primary focus is the business and what are the business outcomes that we want to achieve, and that has to drive everything from the kinds of skills your team requires, the kinds of data science culture that needs to be inculcated. We talk about the two main cultures a lot in the book, and from there it also drives which techniques and tools are used, and how the architecture is set up for the data science team's operations. And all these things have to be driven from the business goal which we are trying to achieve. And that's been kind of the main focus and thrust of the book. And we hope that both data scientists and technology leaders will have that as the key takeaway. Even for example, what Vineet and you talked about, AI and data science, we focus on things like many business problems don't really need data science. There's a significant part of AI which was developed before data science, which still applies in many business problems. So even that, those aspects are important, that we don't go after the attraction of data science all the time, but what's relevant for the business.
Any use cases, Vineet, then Srinath, that you kind of can think of at GS Lab, which kind of came out of the data science practice that you built?
Vineet, you want to start? I'll add later.
Yeah, so one of the interesting projects that we did was trying to predict basically the health condition based on voice sample from a person. So to the user, it looks like magic. So you give a voice sample on your mobile app, and it tells you how likely you are to be depressed, or how likely you are to have asthma. So behind the scenes, a lot of complex things are going on. So first of all, there's a server that serves the request of this mobile app, and there we have deployed models that have been trained on past data of people uh, uh, whose voice samples we collected at hospitals. So we have their voice samples and their health conditions, what health conditions they suffered from, and then we do all kind of signal processing to get the features, and then use machine learning, data science to build models which can then finally predict for a new user what are his chances of having a certain disease. So that's something, to our knowledge, was not attempted before anywhere, and so that was an interesting thing. Though to the user it looks quite simple, he just gives a voice sample and gets the score, but uh, there's a lot of machine learning and data science going on behind the scenes. Uh, then there was this other work that we did. So it was to help humans to augment human intelligence. So nowadays we all have so many email accounts, social media accounts, and to keep track of all the emails you receive in different email accounts or social media posts that are meant for you. So it's a tough job for a human being. So we there was this product that shows a user all his emails from different accounts and social media messages meant for the user in a single screen. And we added data science there to this product, which actually goes through all of this and then tries to find out the action items for the user. So uh, somebody might have asked the user to set up a meeting on, say, Monday. Somebody might have asked him to complete a training. So we collect all these action items by going through the text, understanding it, and then show all the action items for the user in a single place so that he doesn't miss out on those. And again, behind the scenes, there are actually NLP models that are actually finding the intent in the different messages. So
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, Srinath, would like you
and I
to.
thought I'll just add a couple of examples in, for example, the industrial IoT space. So, so in an industry which is storing liquids in large tanks, they need to maintain the quality of the liquid. So one of the parameters is the temperature within the tank needs to be in a certain range, for example. So as part of the IoT or digitalization work, they would have sensors which monitor the different parameters. Uh, but the route to business ROI kind of goes through data science. So uh, we we look at the past data of when certain activities were happening at the terminal. So liquids pumping in, pumping out, when heating was required for different liquids at different tanks. There are various parameters. Tanks could be insulated or not, the weather outside, and all of this. And all this information can be used to create a predictive model which can predict that at a given terminal which has many tanks, which tank would require heating at what time. And then these predictions, along with the other activities at the terminal, altogether kind of form a constraint optimization problem where we want to minimize the peak electricity consumption at the terminal, because it is the peak consumption that contributes most to the billing of the utility company. So, so the data science model's predictions are used as part of a constraint optimization problem, which then guides the sequence of activities that should happen at the terminal in such a way that the peak electricity utilization is minimized. So again, the route from the data science model to the business ROI, there are often intermediate steps as well, like these optimization problems. So, and there are a few other examples along these lines.
No, very nice. And Vineet, I understand you're speaking to us from Kashmir right now, or is it Jammu? So, and it's a classic case of national integration with Srinath from Tamil Nadu, you from Kashmir, meeting up in Pune and writing this book with GS Lab. And so it's an interesting thing that you'll have done. And I am throwing in my little bit of Eastern presence of being a Bengali, interviewing both of you. So thank you for your time. Any last words, buds, Vineet and Srinath?
Yeah, so Sumit, again, I'd like to thank you for this discussion. And we just hope when we were writing this book, I think the only guiding factor was whether people will benefit from it or not. And often when Srinath and I had, when we disagreed on certain things, when we had conflicts with the publisher on timelines. So to sort those out, we just used to think what will be good for the reader and for the community if they'll benefit. And so we kept that in mind all along. And still our hope is people find it useful. I think that's all we would like. That's the effect we would like the book to have. So
very, very nice. Srinath, last words.
Yeah, thanks, Sumit, for your interest in the book, and some of the early feedback we've been getting. Also, it looks like people are probably finding it useful. Different people are able to relate to different portions of the book as we had hoped for. And yeah, we hope that people who are attracted to data science but are worried about the numerous failures with data science, they get some more encouragement by reading this book to adopt data science without too much of a worry. Yeah.
No, I'm very, very proud of you both, and I'm really hoping we have few more from you, and would love to promote this and have all of my friends and colleagues and others go and pick up this book and kind of absolutely gain a whole host of specific knowledge from this. So once again, thank you so very much, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.